What's up all my plant lovers and gardeners? I'm Devin Wallien, and in today's video I'm going to be going through my favorite and essential tools. I have over a couple hundred of houseplants and I have a 3-acre garden that I manage all by myself here in Westchester, Pennsylvania, Zone 6B. And in this video I'm going to first go through my favorite and essential tools for the indoor garden, and then we'll move to the outdoor garden. And before I get started, you can find links in the description to just about everything, if not everything, that I'm going to be referencing here in the video. So if something piques your interest, just scroll down to that video description and you'll find a bunch of links in right there. Now, if you're serious about growing houseplants, you absolutely need to have a couple different pairs of handheld shears. I have these ones, which are like my go-to. This is like my all-purpose handheld shear. It's Kuhn Rikon. It has a great spring in there. It's quick. It's easy. I love these long, relatively narrow tips, so I can really kind of go through the foliage and get those long stems without damaging other plant material. But then I also have these more scissor styles. Now this is going to be great for cutting herbs, a little bit more delicate, thinner stemmed things that I just need to really just kind of like snip right off. I will always use these, and I like these ones because they can come apart and you can easily wash them. So I always make sure I have one of each of these styles in my houseplant growing areas. Now, the next thing, which you definitely want to have on hand, and I need to get some more, I'm running out, is floral tape. Now, this is used in the flower industry for bouquets, keeping bunches of flowers together. But as a professional grower, what I use them for, I will use this to help stake plants up. In particular, if you're using like dowel rods or if you're using moss poles, this is what's going to help you to keep those plant stems adhering to those upright fixtures. And this is super easy to use. As you wrap it around, it has this sort of flexibility and you can easily manipulate it much better than string or twine or fishing wire. This is absolutely essential. Now, one thing that I use a lot is this long-stemmed spoon. Now, you can see this long-stemmed spoon. It's it's like a teaspoon, and you can imagine when I'm repotting something up, I hate making messes, so to minimize making messes indoors, when you're getting that plant newly potted up into that new pot, how do you get soil into the very top area without just kind of like caking it on and making a mess? Well, that's where a long stemmed spoon comes into hand. You just take little scoops and scoop it right around the edges of the pot, and it is great like that. Now, if you are into propagating and you like to take cuttings, when you're taking cuttings and you want to plant those fresh cuttings in, having a nice chopstick, keeping one of your chopsticks when you get takeout is going to be great. When I'm taking my propagations, I always like to plant my propagations in pre-moistened soil. So I will pre-moisten the soil, I will fill up the container with that pre-moistened soil, then I will take my chopstick and I will just make holes into that soil, and then I can easily slip those stems right into the soil, and it's really easy just like that. Now, another thing which you will want to consider having, if you have any large plants, when you perhaps overwater something by accident and there's water sitting in that drip tray underneath and you don't know what to do because it's a big heavy plant and you don't like to move it, using this guy to suck that water up and then you can remove it really eases the process. This is just a little, cheap turkey baster, and I use this quite frequently with some of my larger plants here inside my home. Something you should definitely consider as you get a little bit more invested in your houseplants is getting one of these magnifiers. This is a jewelry identifying magnifier, and it has a little light on it that you don't necessarily need that light. But if you think your plant might have pests, having one of these on hand is going to really allow you to determine whether or not you do have pests and help you to actually identify which pests it might be, whether it's aphids, spider mites, things like that. So I always have one of these inside my home in case I think I have some pests roaming around. I also like to keep track of the temperature and humidity going on in each of my houseplant growing areas, just so I have a nice reference point. So this is really simple. It lists the degrees as well as the relative humidity at the moment. So right now it's 81 degrees in here. It's quite warm and 67% humidity. I like to keep this referencing, throughout the year. So this can be a great thing to just kind of tuck around your houseplants. It's really small and you really don't notice it. Of course, having a wide variety of grow lights is going to be really important. If you don't have, just this big, beautiful southern exposed window action going on inside your home, you're really going to want to have some grow lights. I have a bunch of different videos showcasing how I use grow lights, and I'll put some links in the description below. Not only to various options of grow lights, but also to those videos if you want to learn a little bit more about how I use grow lights and my and any sort of advice I have about using them with our houseplants. And if you are using grow lights, you definitely want to get a few timers so that your grow lights are on that set schedule. A 12-hour timer is going to be perfect for all of your indoor plants. I keep them on 12-hour timers all year round. That kind of replicates the equator where they have 12 hours of daylight all year round, and that's where plants are continually growing at a sort of an even-keeled pace throughout the year. And unless you have just a few houseplants, you're definitely going to want like a large, at least half a gallon, 1 gallon size watering pail. This is pretty self-explanatory, but something with a long nose is going to be good to really get inside, getting to the soil of your plants. You don't want something with a short nose, and you don't want something that's so small that you have to refill all the time. And I think that's pretty much it when it comes to our indoor plants. Now let's go into my garage and look at the tools I have for the outdoor garden. Anyways, thanks for joining me here on Plant Vibrations. I'll catch you guys soon. Ciao.